All right, let's dive into some of nature's absolute masters of survival. We're talking about creatures that prove that sometimes the best way to win the game of life is to just not have a brain to overthink it with.
Oh yeah, you know that feeling, right? Total system overload. Well, what if you could just, close the entire browser forever? That's not a bug, that's the actual evolutionary strategy we're looking at today.
For the members of this very exclusive club, being brainless isn't a flaw, it's a feature. It is a straight-up superpower that has let them outlast countless other species. So, you ready? Let's meet our first member.
First up, we have the president of the club, the Immortal Jellyfish. This thing takes low maintenance to a completely different mind-boggling level. I mean, just look at this design. The efficiency is just beautiful. There's no brain to worry with, no heart to break, no bones to mend. It's basically an automated robot floating through the ocean. It's so streamlined that it uses the exact same hole for food to go in and for waste to go out. Simple, effective, genius.
But here it is. Here's its real party trick, the thing that makes it a legend. It doesn't die of old age. When things get tough, whether it's stress or it's just getting old, it has a literal escape hatch from death itself.
And here's how it works. The jellyfish basically just hits a biological factory reset button. It collapses in on itself, turns back into its baby polyp stage, and just starts its entire life over from scratch. Can you imagine doing that every time you got a stressful email?
It's just an endless loop of life, all running on autopilot without a single thought.
Okay, so if you thought the jellyfish was simple, you need to prepare yourself for our next member, the sea cucumber. This thing is less of an animal and more of a sentient, self-propelled digestive tract.
Seriously, it's a living vacuum cleaner. It has no face, no brain, and it just wanders the seafloor, munching on what our sources call ocean dirt. But the wildest part? Get this. It breathes through its butt. It pulls oxygen-filled water in and pushes the old water back out.
Now, this unique breathing system has an unfortunate side effect. Its backside is apparently such a cozy, safe little cave that other small creatures, like the pearlfish, have just decided to move in, rent-free. The sea cucumber becomes this unwilling landlord.
So what's evolution's fix for this? Give it a security door. And yes, you are seeing that correctly. To keep out these unwanted house guests, some species have actually evolved anal teeth. Nature is so weird, and I love it.
Okay, so that handles squatters, but what about actual predators? How does a brainless, squishy tube stop itself from getting eaten? Well, the answer is somehow both disgusting and absolutely genius.
For starters, if it gets trapped, it can literally liquefy its own body to ooze through tiny cracks and just slip away to safety. A pretty neat, if kind of goopy, trick.
But if that doesn't work, it goes for the nuclear option. It violently shoots its own internal organs out of its butt to distract and tangle up the predator. And the best part? It just moves on and grows a whole new set of guts later. No brain, no problem.
What a gutsy move. It just goes to show you don't need a mind to have a powerful will to survive.
And for our last stop, let's meet an honorary club member. This is the Coelacanth, the dinosaur fish. Now, it technically does have a brain, but it seems to be less of a vital organ and more of a suggestion.
So check this out. Its huge head is almost entirely, 98% filled with fat. The actual brain makes up just a tiny, tiny fraction of that. We're talking about a 200-pound fish that's been around since before the dinosaurs, all while running on what seems like zero processing power.
And, this might explain some of its behavior. It swims in the most bizarre ways you can imagine. Sometimes straight up and down with its head pointed to the seafloor, sometimes completely upside down, and other times just drifting backwards with the current. I guess when your brain is that small, concepts like up and down are pretty flexible.
Hey, it's a strategy that has kept its ancient cycle going for millions and millions of years. Who are we to argue with that?
So what's the big takeaway here? When we look at all these creatures, from the jellyfish that can't die to the gut-throwing sea cucumber, a really clear pattern starts to emerge.
The main thing is just their incredible staying power. These simple animals have survived mass extinctions, ice ages, you name it. Meanwhile, we complex-brained humans, well, most of us can't even remember where we left our car keys. This quote from the source material just sums it all up perfectly. In the brutal, unforgiving game of survival, being an automated, instinct-driven machine without the burden of constant thought is a remarkably effective strategy.
It's an evolutionary path that's simple, it's super efficient, and it is undeniably successful. Being a no-brainer is quite literally a winning formula.
And all of this leaves us with one final big question. These mindless masters force us to rethink everything we thought we knew, and to ask, in the long game of evolution, is a bigger brain really always better?